Hi, I'm Reverend Betsy Rosam, and I'm here today this is my first Wednesday Wisdom Talk, and I'm going to be sharing today with you about empty nest syndrome. And I find that this is a good time of year to do this. Many parents are letting go of their children. They're graduating from high school or college, and they're moving on to their next step or their next part of their journey in life. So I wanted to talk a little bit about empty nest syndrome and what it is. Well, first of all, it's not necessarily a diagnosis. Most parents go through empty nest syndrome. It's when your kids leave home and you're left with an empty nest. And sometimes it feels horrible. I know it did for me. I had trouble with it. So I'm going to give you some tips today, some things that have helped me. You want to encourage your kids to be independent. I know I certainly did. They are very independent young people, and two of them own their own businesses, and they're very creative. And all three are on their own and have been on their own for quite some time. All three of them have been on their own since they graduated from college. And I know that my oldest daughter went away at 18 to Oklahoma to college, so it was a little bit of a challenge. She was the very first. You might find it very difficult to have nobody at home anymore, not having children at home anymore. I remember for me, I did. Our home was the home where all their friends gathered. I had the band in the rock band in the garage, dance recital rehearsals in the living room, movie nights. I remember coming home one day and there were 4 surfboards lined up against the wall in my living room, and my son's friends were watching TV on the floor in the family room. So our home was the place where everybody gathered, and it was always filled with laughter and joy and music. My kids, again, are professional musicians, so there was always music in the home. And today, the only time there's music in my home is when I decide to turn the radio or stereo on or plug in a CD or an MP3. You might miss being part of your children's daily lives, as well as the constant companionship. I know I was shopping. I shopped with my girls. I really enjoyed shopping with my girls, and I miss that. And today, when they come to visit, we go shopping. And the last time my youngest daughter was down, my sister and I went shopping with my daughter, and it was just a wonderful day. And I missed that. I can go shopping with my friends, but it's not quite the same as with my daughters. You also might worry about their safety and whether they can handle all of this on their own, taking care of themselves on their own. I know that I was a home economics teacher, and I taught my kids how to cook and how to do their laundry and all the things that they needed to do, but there was still that little tiny bit of uncertainty as whether they're going to be able to do this on their own. And so that's an issue too. You might struggle with the transition when your last child leaves. They leave a little earlier than you anticipated. My two younger children, my son and my daughter, my youngest daughter, left. They stayed at home a little bit longer than my oldest. My youngest went to junior college. My son worked a little bit before he went on to college or school. My oldest daughter graduated from high school in June and was on a plane in August to Oklahoma. So she left earlier than I anticipated. But she's always been more independent than the other two. Research suggests that parents that deal with empty nest, if they don't deal with it appropriately or they don't take time to really grieve the loss and take care of themselves, they can experience this huge loss, can cause depression, alcoholism, identity crisis, and sometimes even marital conflicts. So it's really important that if you feel like you are having trouble with this, get some help. And I'm going to suggest some tips here in a minute. However, realizing that the kids are no longer here, so your job is a little bit different now. You can spend time taking care of yourself. There's time for opportunities in your business or your work or even with friends. Taking up a new hobby, you have time to do that when before you were involved with the role of being the parent that you may not have had the time to do that. These new opportunities might increase time for your marriage or friendship. You're possibly rekindle interests that you might not previously had. I know I had more time for my hobbies when my kids left, and having those hobbies really was helpful in spending time with me, time that I hadn't had when I had my kids at home. How you can cope. First of all, accept the timing. Avoid comparing each child's timetable to either what you expect or maybe the other kids or maybe even what your friend's kid's timetable was. Each child is different. Each child that's growing into an adult has a different timetable. Instead, focus on what you can do to help them succeed when they leave home. Encourage them to be independent. Keep in touch. It's important to continue to be close to your children even when you live apart. Today we have Skype and email and Facebook, and I know for me, seeing pictures of my children on Facebook keeps me a little bit closer to them, and that's real important. But also make sure that you don't nag or insist on them visiting you. It's not their job to take care of you. They need to focus on creating their own success in their own lives and moving forward. And they can't do that if they're worried about how mom or dad is handling the empty nest. It's really important to seek support if you're having trouble with this. Lean on loved ones, friends, share your feelings. If you have friends, most of us have friends our own age and that are possibly going through this at the same time. Spend some time together and talk about it. You have time now to do those things. Time that you may have spent with your kids, spend with friends, and enjoy the support that you can give each other. Also, if you feel depressed, make sure that you contact a professional, try to get some help. I help people. I am a counselor, and I do help people with grief and loss, as well as other traumas and emotional triggers. I can show you some real simple tools to help you through this. Stay positive. Thinking about the extra time and energy that you have, that you can devote to your marriage, to your friends, to a new career, a hobby, taking up tennis maybe, or going to the gym and swimming, working out more, going to the library and finding out a new hobby. YouTube has a whole wealth of how-tos. I know I discovered Pinterest, and there's a lot of really cool things to look that you can look to do on Pinterest. So take this time to take care of yourself. It's really important. Remember, and last of all, remember that your child isn't moving away from you so much as moving towards their own life, their own new life. This is the moment that you planned for. You know, as parents, our goal is to create happy, independent adults. And as they go off into their new journey, we see this happening. And we can be so proud of them and supportive of them in spite of the feeling of loss. And again, if you're feeling depressed, please seek some help. And check out my website. I have some really good videos and some other information there. BetsyRosam.com, BetsyRosam.com. And I'm going to sign off for a while for Wisdom Wednesdays with Reverend Betsy. Have a wonderful day.